In the heart of Mumbai, chaos erupted when a prominent businessman was found dead in his mansion. The scene was chilling, his body lay lifeless, and strange, glowing symbols were burned into his skin. The room was locked from the inside, with no sign of forced entry. On the desk beside him was a note that read, "The game begins." The city buzzed with speculation, but beneath the surface, this was no ordinary crime. Aarav Mehra, a brilliant yet reclusive forensic investigator, was called to the scene. Aarav wasn't like other investigators, he had a secret. By touching objects, he could glimpse fragmented memories attached to them. But this gift came with a price. The visions were excruciating, leaving him drained and haunted. Aarav lived in isolation, carrying the weight of his tragic past, one that had severed his ties with the world and with her. Ira Kapoor, a fierce investigative journalist, was already chasing the case. Ira had spent years exposing the darkest corners of society, but this murder had piqued her interest for a different reason. It wasn't just the crime, it was the symbols. She recognized them as part of a mysterious story she had uncovered years ago while investigating the underground world of black magic cartels. When she crossed paths with Aarav at the crime scene, the tension between them was palpable. Once childhood sweethearts, they had been torn apart by a shared trauma that neither could forget. Despite their differences, the clues forced Aarav and Ira to work together. The symbols etched on the businessman's body weren't random. They were part of an ancient Sanskrit code tied to a mythical grimoire, a book said to hold unimaginable power. For centuries, this book had been lost, but now it seemed someone was determined to bring it back. As more bodies turned up, each bearing similar markings, it became clear that these weren't isolated murders, they were part of a larger, sinister ritual. Their investigation took them across India, from the cryptic caves of Ajanta to the mystical ghats of Varanasi. Each step brought them closer to the truth and to each other. Aarav's visions revealed fragments of the victim's final moments, while Ira's relentless determination unearthed hidden connections between them. Along the way, old wounds reopened. Ira discovered the truth about Aarav's abilities and the pain he endured because of them. She saw the broken boy behind the brilliant investigator, and slowly, their shared pain began to heal. But the darkness they faced was deeper than they had imagined. A shadowy figure known only as the Black Sorcerer was orchestrating the murders. This figure was not just seeking power, they were performing a ritual to unlock the grimoire's secrets. The closer Aarav and Ira got, the more dangerous the game became. In a climactic twist, the identity of the Black Sorcerer was revealed. It was Vikram, Aarav's estranged brother. Aarav had believed Vikram was dead, but he had instead turned to dark magic, driven by the same tragedy that had torn their family apart. Vikram claimed he was using the grimoire to fix the world's injustices, but the power had corrupted him, turning him into a monster. The final confrontation took place in an abandoned temple in Kerala, under the light of a blood moon. Aarav and Vikram faced off in a deadly battle of wits and power. Aarav used his visions to predict Vikram's moves, while Vikram unleashed the full force of his dark magic. Ira, in a moment of bravery, deciphered the last part of the Sanskrit code inscribed on the temple walls. The code was the key to destroying the grimoire forever. As the temple began to collapse, Vikram made a shocking choice. In his final moments, he saved Aarav and Ira, sacrificing himself to stop the darkness he had unleashed. With tears in his eyes, he told Aarav, "Sometimes love means letting go." Months later, Aarav and Ira stood together on a quiet hill overlooking the city. The world had moved on, but they carried the scars of their journey. Aarav had learned to embrace his gift, no longer fearing it, while Ira had reignited her passion for uncovering the truth. As they stood in silence, their hands brushed, and for the first time in years, Aarav allowed himself to hope. The city seemed to breathe again after the collapse of the cursed grimoire, but some shadows never truly fade. Aarav and Ira had returned to Mumbai, hoping to leave the darkness behind. Their bond had deepened, love had become their anchor in a world filled with uncertainties. Yet, as they tried to rebuild their lives, whispers of something darker began to stir. It started subtly, a string of inexplicable disappearances across the country. Farmers vanished from remote villages, tech entrepreneurs from bustling cities, and even high-ranking officials disappeared without a trace. Each side bore faint scorch marks on the ground in the shape of a broken trident, a symbol that sent a chill down Aarav's spine. The break in the case came when a package arrived at Ira's office. Inside was an ornate dagger, its hilt carved with runes that seemed to pulse faintly under her touch. Along with it was a note: the grimoire was only the beginning. The true gates have yet to open. Come find me if you dare. The signature was unmistakable: Vikram Mehra. Vikram's death had been certain. Aarav had seen him fall as the temple collapsed, consumed by the darkness he had unleashed. Yet now, his brother's name haunted him again, raising the spectre of a truth he couldn't ignore. Ira, ever the pragmatist, believed it was a cruel ruse, but Aarav's instincts told him otherwise. The trail led them to an ancient ashram hidden deep within the forests of Odisha. The ashram, abandoned for decades, was said to have been a sanctuary for a secretive sect that once worshipped Kalayaan, a forgotten deity of destruction and rebirth. There, they found Vikram's journal, scrawled in blood and filled with cryptic warnings. The grimoire was merely a lock. The true key lies in the shadows. Before they could piece the clues together, they were ambushed. Cloaked figures with faces hidden by golden masks surrounded them, their movements impossibly fast. Aarav and Ira fought back, but the attackers weren't ordinary. They chanted incantations that twisted the air, and fire erupted from their palms. Just as they were about to be overwhelmed, a shadow emerged from the trees, and with a wave of his hand, the attackers fell to the ground, lifeless. Aarav froze. The man standing before them was unmistakably Vikram, but something about him was different. His once dark eyes now glowed with an eerie golden light, and his presence radiated an unnatural power. I told you, Vikram said, his voice calm yet cold. Death is merely a doorway. You should have let me go, Aarav. Vikram revealed the truth: while the grimoire had been destroyed, its essence had bound itself to him in his final moments. He was no longer entirely human. The power coursing through him was both a curse and a gift, and he was using it to open the gates to Kalyaan's realm. His plan was simple: to reshape the world by uniting humanity under one unbreakable rule, no matter the cost. Aarav was torn. This wasn't the brother he had known, but a fragment of him still remained. You don't have to do this, Aarav pleaded. We can fight this together. You still don't understand, brother, Vikram replied. I'm not the villain of this story. I'm the only one willing to do what must be done.